My garden philosophy follows permaculture somewhat loosely, I should say. In my garden, I try to mirror the systems that are found in nature with trees, small shrubs, understory bushes, and ground cover. So when I plant and when I choose plants for my garden, I choose them for either their edibility to me, to bees, to hummingbirds, or for sentimental reasons. I have peonies that remind me of my grandmother. I have some plants that I took from her. My granddad used to grow black raspberries for us, and that has been kind of our favorite family jam. And so I have some of his raspberry bushes, and I basically try to create a wild place that has a lot of diversity in a small space so that I can garden using organic practices and minimize pests, or at least confuse them. Two and a half feet deep. Alright, so I've got my bracing up. The primary structure, I dug it down about 2.5 feet. The dirt is fairly soft here because this is a new bed that I backfilled a couple years ago. So that's well and secured in the ground. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put a couple laterals up, maybe 3 lateral fencing wires across. And that just gives me something to tie the raspberries onto. I'll put one at maybe 1.5 feet and then space them 1 foot apart. So that's the raspberry trellis. It's coming along well, and hopefully in a couple hours I'll have the laterals ran and I'll get all of these crazy raspberries staked up. So the system I'm using to tighten up this fence wire, it's called a grapple. It's a little galvanized puck. It's a mechanism. There's a spring on each side, and there's 2 inlets. It's a one-way tension device. Just think of one of those Chinese finger traps. So you push your wire in and it stays. It's a locking mechanism. So there's a spring and a roller and it pinches that wire. The other wire goes in this way and it does the same thing. So you've created this really nice locking system. So when I want to tighten this little guy, I slide it into this chamber and then I push this mechanism open, and this little guy grabs onto the wire and it just cinches it up, and you can just ratchet it until it's taut. So I'm really a big fan of this grapple system. I've tried all sorts of things. I have these one-way little jobbies. So what you do, I don't even know what they're called.
is you drill into your post on the outside, and it has the same thing. The wire goes in and it's a one-way tension system. So I had to drill through the post, hammer one of these into the end, feed the wire through, and then theoretically it locks it, and so you can cinch it really tight. But you also need some way to fasten it to the other post. So drilling holes and getting this right, it was just such a hassle. So I stopped using these guys. I have some of those little old wheels, I don't know what they're called, and you can twist them and the wire twists around. I've used those too. They're kind of a hassle. I'm just not a big fan. So I went ahead, bought the tool, and now I'm just using these little grapples. The vineyards around here use them, and it's just a really efficient, handy, clean, easy way to put really taut fencing up. Okay, so I've got 2 vertical wires ran. I'm going to put a third one, another foot down, and then it's time to tie up our prickle briars. My new trellis is also serving as a drying station. I have my mint harvest hanging